This is a modern tab filter. It looks awesome, it looks clean, and it looks sharp. And it's going to look great on your newest application. So, with that being said, let's jump into this tutorial on how to create this. So first, we're going to open up a brand new Power Apps Canvas app. And we're going to drop in a container. We're going to drop in a vertical container. We're going to take that container and we're just going to center it in the middle of our Canvas app so that it's right there, easy to use. You can move this around once you've built it. And we're going to adjust it so that the height is about somewhere around 400 and the width is 500. It doesn't have to be particular, just a nice box shape. Next, we're going to throw in two containers. We're going to throw in a lower vertical container, and we're going to make the height. We're going to make it be parent.height times 80%. And then we're going to make the width just parent width. Looks like I didn't click on the right thing. There we go. Parent width. All right. Now once we've created that, we're just going to label this container body. And then we're going to name this main container. You can name it whatever you want. Next, we're going to add in another container. We're going to add in a horizontal container. We're going to want this one to be on top. I probably should have created this one first. That's okay. We're going to name this navbar filter. And same thing right here. We're going to turn on flexible height, and we're going to set the width to parent.width, and then we're also going to set the height to parent height times 20%. So we have a nice evened out and everything's being used in our container. With that being said, we're next going to turn off the drop shadow because we don't need any drop shadow on this. And then for this main container, we're going to throw on a nice regular drop shadow so it stands out just a little bit. Once again, you can design this however you want for your application. Anything that relates to colors or anything like that, feel free to customize this the way you want. So now that we've created our navbar filter, we're going to throw in a couple of containers. So we're going to want to choose a horizontal container. We're going to set the width to be parent.width times 30%. Now we're going to change this later, but for now this is what we're going to have it set to. And then we're going to set the height just to be parent.height. And then we're going to throw on some padding later, but before we do that, let's go ahead and name this to be button1 container. I might have misspelled container. And then we're going to throw in a button. All right, and then we're going to go down here to style and theme and make the type. We're going to make it an outline. So we'll have this nice soft edge for the button. Now we want this button to be centered, so we want it to be aligned vertically and then justified as well. And then we're going to set the height of this button to be parent.height and parent.width. So right now we have a really simple button put into our container. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. So our button is ready to go. We're going to throw a little icon in here. Let's do a people icon. Actually, let's just do one person. There we go. And we'll name this button people. So people filter. So there we have our first button, and we're going to go ahead and make the font size about 30. Actually, maybe let's do 25. So we're going to make it 25, and then we're going to set the font to hit Segway UI, and let's set the font weight to semi-bold and the color to a nice slight gray. Maybe just a little bit darker. There we go. Alright, so now we have our button. It's all set up and it's ready to go. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this button and we're going to go down to the width. And we're going to set this to times 30%. Or, not the button, the container for the button. So it's okay, yeah, it's already set to 30%. What we're going to do now is we're going to duplicate this container. So we're going to duplicate 3 times. Make sure you click back to the original container, and you should now have all your buttons set up and ready to go. We're now going to want to add a small gap to these buttons so that they stand out and they look nice. We're also going to adjust the height on these so that they are popping out a little bit as well. So now we have our 3 containers with our 3 buttons. We're going to turn off the drop shadow because we don't need that, and we're going to bring up our border radius just a little bit. Let's say about 20. Whoops. We actually don't want that to be 20. We want the actual buttons to be 20. Alright, so that one's 20. I'll set this one as well. Feel free to fast forward this part. Just realize this is not the most important part. Alright, so we have our 3 buttons. They're ready to go, and they look great, right? So what we want to do now is we want to set up a formula system so that whenever one is selected, the other ones are collapsed, and so forth. So we're going to select this button, and we're going to go to the onSelect property, and we're going to say set select button 1. You can name your variables whatever you want, to true. And then we're going to copy it, paste. And we're going to name these other ones be 2. And this one, 3. And then we want to set this one to be false. And we want this one to be false as well. So now we're going to go ahead and copy this and paste it into the other buttons as well. And so let's before we go forward, let's go ahead and make this button different. Let's say maybe this one's going to be objects. So objects. It's always good to have a little bit of distinguishing. And this one will be, let's say, tasks. Let's find a good icon for this one. That one looks good. So once again, back to where we were. We want to go to button 2, which is going to be our tasks or our objects filter. Let's rename it real quick. And then we want to rename this one our tasks filter. So then let's click on it, and we're going to set select button 1 to false. We're going to set select button 2 to true. So whenever this button is clicked, it's going to set button 2 to true. And then on this one, we're going to do the same, set these ones to false, and set this one to true. Now we're going to go back, just make sure our code looks good. Alright, so it looks all good. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go to button 1 container, and we're going to go to the width. And we're going to set up a formula so that it can be adjusted whenever the button is clicked. So we're going to do if select button 1 is true, then we want the width to be parent.width. We'll adjust this in a second. But we have our true and our false. So when it's true, we want it to be a certain width, and when it's false, we want it to be a certain width as well. I think we're going to make it to where whenever it's true, it's 0.3, and whenever it's false, it's going to be, let's go with 0.5. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to copy this formula, and we're going to paste it into the other ones as well. Make sure you change this to button 2, because our formula is that. And then we're going to go to the other one as well, and oops, we're going to go to the other one and paste it in there as well. Oops, excuse me. This one's button 3. Sometimes when you're going fast, it can be a little, you can mess up. So we have all of our if statements created, and they should be ready to go. But before we do that, let's go ahead and throw the if statement inside the text as well. So we're going to set to, let's save the project real quick. We're going to erase that. Let's go copy this formula. So if button 1 equals true, we want it to say people. And if it's not true, we don't want anything to be said. So we can go ahead and copy this. We can paste it into the text for this one as well. We're going to go to the button number 3 and do that for this one as well. Let's rename them. Once again, you can skip this part if you don't want to watch just things get repeated. There we go. So let's go ahead and try it out and see what happens. So we click on people. It's setting button 1 to true. And we select this one. It sets button 2 to true. And we select this one and it sets button 3 to true. So as you can see, this is a really nice, seamless experience for your app. And it's really easy to set up. It's simple and it looks really nice. And it kind of gives your brain a little trick, because when you click on it, obviously there's no animation going on, but it looks like it's popping out. So with that being said, that is how you create a modern filter tab on Power Apps. Now, if you have any questions, just put them down below in the comment section, or if you have any suggestions, do so as well. Once again, I'm not a pro. These are just things that I've already learned and I'd love to share with y'all. So with that being said, hope you all have a great day. Thanks. Peace.